The galactic threat emerges. The vast chamber of the galactic console hummed with an undercurrent of tension. Representatives from 1,000 worlds shifted uneasily in their seats, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of life that had flourished across the stars. At the center of the room, High Consul Zixara, a being of shimmering energy contained within an ornate exosuit, raised her appendages for silence. Esteemed colleagues, Zixara's voice resonated through the chamber. Simultaneously translated into countless languages, we face a crisis unprecedented in our history. The holographic display at the chamber's heart flickered to life, revealing a star map of the outer territories. Red markers pulsed ominously, spreading like a virus across the projection. 3 cycles ago, we detected an anomaly at the edge of the Andromeda arm, Zixara continued. What we initially dismissed as a sensor malfunction has revealed itself to be something far more sinister. The display zoomed in on a sector near the galactic rim. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembly as the image resolved into a massive fleet of ships, unlike any design known to the console. Their hulls were dark, absorbing light rather than reflecting it, making them appear as voids against the starscape. These vessels have destroyed 3 outposts and 2 colony worlds. Zixara's tone was grave. They do not respond to hails. They do not negotiate. They simply annihilate. Falcor, the reptilian representative from the Draconis Confederacy, rose to speak. High Consul, what of our defense fleets? Surely the combined might of the galactic console can repel these invaders. Zixara's form flickered, a sign of distress in her species. I wish it were so simple, honored Falcor. Our initial engagements have been disastrous. The hologram shifted again, displaying footage from a recent battle. The console watched in horror as ships of various designs, representing the pinnacle of their respective civilizations' technology, were swatted aside like insects by the dark vessels. Weapons that should have reduced planets to ash seemed to dissipate harmlessly against the invaders' hulls. Their technology is beyond anything we have encountered, Zixara explained. Our most powerful weapons are ineffective. Our strongest shields offer no protection. We are outmatched. Panic began to spread through the chamber. Representatives shouted questions and demands, their carefully maintained diplomatic facades crumbling in the face of existential threat. Amidst the chaos, a quiet voice cut through the din. All eyes turned to Kellinan, the elderly representative of the Arcturian collective, known for their pacifistic ways and deep philosophical insights. There is another option, Kellinan said, his voice barely above a whisper, yet somehow heard by all. Though I fear the cure may prove worse than the disease. Zixara focused her sensors on the ancient being. Speak, wise one. In our darkest hour, we must consider all possibilities. Kellinan's eyes, milky with age, seemed to look beyond the chamber walls. There is a world, quarantined by mutual agreement of this very console centuries ago. A world whose inhabitants proved too unpredictable to be allowed free rein among the stars. A hush fell over the assembly as realization dawned. Zixara's form pulsed with anxiety. Surely you don't mean? Yes, Kellinan nodded solemnly. Earth. The mere mention of the name sent a shudder through the chamber. Earth, the homeworld of humanity, had been a subject of fear and fascination for the galactic community for generations. Luxera, a luminous being from the crystal forests of Epsilon Indi, spoke up. But the humans, they're savages, unpredictable, violent. We all remember the Proxima incident. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. The Proxima incident, where a small human expedition had somehow managed to destabilize an entire sector's political structure in less than a standard year, was still fresh in many minds despite the passage of time. And yet, Kellinan countered, can we deny their effectiveness? Their creativity in the face of overwhelming odds. The hologram shifted once more, displaying historical footage that many in the chamber had hoped never to see again. Scenes of human conflicts, both among themselves and in their limited engagements with other species before their quarantine. The images were chaotic, terrifying, and undeniably impressive. Where other species relied on overwhelming firepower or numerical superiority, humans seemed to thrive on the impossible. Footage showed vastly outnumbered human forces turning the tide of battle through sheer audacity and unconventional thinking. Tactics that seemed suicidal at first glance revealed themselves to be strokes of genius. "The humans have a saying," Kelman continued, his voice tinged with a mix of admiration and fear. "They call it thinking outside the box. It is this very quality that made them so dangerous, and potentially our salvation." Zixera's form pulsed rapidly, a sign of deep contemplation. "Even if we were to consider this drastic step, how can we be certain the humans would aid us? They have been isolated for centuries. For all we know, they may have destroyed themselves in our absence." A dry chuckle emanated from an unexpected source. Grix, the insectoid representative of the hive minds of Betelgeuse, rarely participated in debates. Now, all compound eyes turned to him. "Destroyed themselves? Unlikely," Grix chittered. "Our long-range sensors have detected significant activity in the Sol system. Energy outputs far beyond what should be possible for their level of technology. If anything, I fear they have only grown stronger in isolation." This revelation sent a fresh wave of unease through the chamber. The humans, left to their own devices, advancing beyond the console's ability to monitor or control. It was a frightening prospect. "We cannot simply ignore this threat," Falkor growled, tail lashing in agitation. "If these dark ships cannot be stopped by conventional means, then perhaps the humans' unconventional methods are exactly what we need." "And if they turn on us?" "Lux," Era countered. "If we invite them back into the galactic community only to face a threat on two fronts." The debate raged on, representatives arguing passionately for and against involving Earth in the conflict. Hours passed, alliances shifted, and still no consensus was reached. Finally, High Consul Zixera raised her appendages once more, calling for silence. The chamber grew still, all eyes on their leader. "We stand at a crossroads," Zixera began, her voice heavy with the weight of the decision before them. "On one path lies certain destruction at the hands of this unknown enemy. On the other, uncertainty. The humans are a wild card, capable of miracles and catastrophes in equal measure." She paused, her form shimming as she chose her next words carefully. "I propose a compromise. We will send a delegation to Earth, in secret. They will assess the current state of human civilization and their potential willingness to aid us. Based on their findings, we will make our final decision." Murmurs of cautious agreement rippled through the chamber. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it offered a glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. "Who will undertake this mission?" Thalkor asked. "It will require individuals of exceptional skill and discretion." Zixera's form pulsed with determination. "I will lead the delegation myself. The stakes are too high to entrust this task to anyone else." Gasps of surprise echoed through the chamber. For the High Consul to leave the safety of the galactic core was unprecedented. "I will be accompanied by a small team, chosen for their expertise and their ability to appreciate the human perspective," Zixera continued. "Kelnan, your historical knowledge will be invaluable. Grix, your analytical skills may help us decipher human intentions. And Luxera, your empathic abilities may provide insight into their emotional states." The named representatives nodded solemnly, accepting the grave responsibility placed upon them. "What of the rest of us?" A voice called out from the assembly. "What shall we do while you undertake this perilous journey?" Zixera's tone became steel. "Prepare. Fortify your worlds. Evacuate those nearest to the encroaching darkness. And pray that the humans will be the saviors we need, rather than the destroyers we fear." As the session adjourned, a palpable mix of hope and dread filled the chamber. The fate of the galaxy now rested on the shoulders of a species long shunned, a wild card in a game with unfathomable stakes. Little did they know, Events were already in motion on the distant blue world that would soon become the focal point of galactic attention. Earth, it seemed, had not been as isolated as the Galactic Council believed. Earth's secret preparations. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility unknown to most of humanity, a gathering of Earth's most influential leaders was taking place. The room hummed with an energy that had nothing to do with the advanced technology surrounding them, and everything to do with the gravity of the situation they faced. General Samantha Chen, head of Earth's Unified Defense Force, stood at the head of the table, her posture rigid with tension. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to share with you is classified at the highest level. 6 hours ago, our deep space monitoring stations picked up a transmission. It wasn't meant for us. She tapped a control, and a holographic display sprang to life above the table. Alien script scrolled past, accompanied by a translation. "This is a distress call," Chen continued, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "The Galactic Council, a coalition of alien races we've been monitoring for decades, is under attack from an unknown force. They're losing. Badly." Murmurs rippled through the assembled leaders. Dr. Aisha Patel, the lead scientist of Project Prometheus, leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. "And they have no idea we've been listening all this time." Chen shook her head. "None. As far as they know, we're still a quarantined primitive species, barely able to reach our own moon." A dry chuckle came from the far end of the table. All eyes turned to Zhen Liu, the enigmatic CEO of Quantum Dynamics, Earth's leading developer of advanced technology. "Oh, if they only knew," Zhen mused, a hint of pride in his voice. Indeed, if the Galactic Council could see the true state of human technology, they would be astounded. In the centuries since Earth's quarantine, humanity had not stagnated. Instead, driven by an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and a paranoid fear of external threats, they had advanced by leaps and bounds. Zhen tapped his own controls, and the hologram shifted to display a dizzying array of technological marvels. Antimatter reactors that could power entire cities with a fraction of the fuel needed by their fossil fuel predecessors. Quantum computers that could process more information in a second than all the classical computers in human history combined. And weapons that could reshape the fabric of reality itself. "Project Prometheus is ready," Dr. Patel declared, her voice filled with equal parts excitement and trepidation. "The Mobius drive has passed all simulations. We can traverse vast distances by folding space-time, effectively giving us faster-than-light travel without violating causality." President Elena Rodriguez, leader of the United Earth Government, raised a hand for silence. Her weathered face bore the lines of someone who had carried the weight of humanity's future for far too long. "The question before us is not one of capability, but of choice. Do we reveal ourselves? Do we intervene in a conflict that by all rights is not our own?" The room erupted into heated debate. Some argued passionately for isolation, citing the risks of exposing Earth to potential new threats. Others pushed for intervention, seeing an opportunity to establish humanity as a force to be reckoned with on the galactic stage. Amidst the chaos, a quiet voice cut through the din. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the renowned synapsepsychologist, spoke softly but with conviction. "We must consider the ethical implications. Yes, we have the power to influence this conflict, perhaps even to end it. But at what cost? And more importantly, what comes after?" Her words gave the others pause. Yuki continued, her gaze sweeping the room. "If we reveal ourselves, there's no going back. We will be players on a stage far larger than we've ever known. Our actions will have consequences not just for Earth, but for countless alien civilizations. Are we ready for that responsibility?" A heavy silence fell over the room as the weight of Yuki's words sank in. It was General Chen who finally broke it, her voice tinged with a mix of determination and resignation. "Ready or not, I fear the choice may be made for us. This unknown enemy that's tearing through the Galactic Council, what's to stop them from finding Earth eventually? We may be advanced, but we're not invincible. If we don't act now, we may lose our chance to act at all. President Rodriguez nodded slowly, the burden of command evident in her posture. We need more information. General Chen, assemble a team for a covert reconnaissance mission. I want eyes on this conflict, on the Galactic Council, and on this new threat. Dr. Patel, accelerate the final tests on the Mobius drive. If we're going to reveal ourselves, we do it on our terms, with every advantage we can muster. As the meeting adjourned, the leaders of Earth filed out, each lost in their own thoughts about the monumental decisions that lay ahead. But in a shadowy corner of the room, unnoticed by the others, a figure remained. Admiral Marcus Blackwood, head of Earth's Black Ops Division, allowed himself a small, grim smile. For years, Blackwood had been preparing for this very moment. While the others had focused on defense and technological advancement, his teams had been laying the groundwork for humanity's debut on the galactic stage. Sleeper agents embedded in alien worlds, gathering intelligence. Prototype weapons designed to exploit the weaknesses of a dozen different species. And contingency plans. Oh, so many contingency plans. Blackwood pulled out a secure communicator, speaking in a voice barely above a whisper. Operation Trojan Horse is a go. Activate all sleeper cells. It's time to remind the galaxy why they feared us in the first place. Across the vast expanse of space, on worlds unknown to most of humanity, dormant agents stirred to life. The stage was set for humanity's grand entrance, whether the galaxy was ready for it or not. Meanwhile, in orbit around Jupiter, Earth's most advanced shipyard hummed with activity. The EFS Prometheus, humanity's first true interstellar vessel, was undergoing its final preparations. Captain Aria Zhang stood on the bridge, surveying her crew with a mix of pride and anticipation. Status report, she barked, her voice carrying the authority of someone born to command. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, her second-in-command and chief engineer, looked up from his console. Mobius drive is online and stable, Captain. Quantum shields are at full capacity. Weaponry. He paused, a hint of awe in his voice. Weaponry is beyond anything I've ever seen. The reality disruptors alone could tear a small moon apart. Aria nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. And the crew? Best of the best, Mom, Raj replied with a grin. Handpicked from every nation on Earth. Whatever we face out there, this team can handle it. As if on cue, the ship's AI, ARIA, Advanced Recursive Intelligence Algorithm, chimed in. Its holographic avatar, a shimmering blue sphere, materialized on the bridge. Captain, I've completed my analysis of the alien transmission. I believe I can extrapolate the location of the Galactic Council's central meeting place. Aria raised an eyebrow, impressed despite herself. Aria's capabilities never ceased to amaze her. Well done. Plot a course, but keep us at the edge of the system. We observe only, unless ordered otherwise. As the Prometheus prepared for its maiden voyage, tensions on Earth continued to rise. In labs and briefing rooms across the globe, humanity's best and brightest worked tirelessly, refining technologies and strategies that would soon be put to the ultimate test. Dr. Patel and her team labored over the final adjustments to the Mobius drive, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible in physics. In secure facilities, military strategists pored over centuries of science fiction, drawing inspiration from the imaginations of writers who had unknowingly predicted the challenges humanity now faced. And in the depths of cyberspace, a silent war was already underway. Earth's most skilled hackers probed the fringes of alien networks, laying the groundwork for what could be the most important intelligence operation in human history. As the hour of decision approached, President Rodriguez found herself standing alone in her office, gazing out at the Washington Monument. The weight of history pressed down on her shoulders. Whatever choice she made would irreversibly alter the course of human destiny. A soft chime interrupted her reverie. Madam President, her aide's voice came through the intercom. The Prometheus is ready for launch. General Chen awaits your order. Elena took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. In that moment, she felt the eyes of every human who had ever lived upon her. From the earliest ancestors who had first looked up at the stars in wonder, to the pioneers of the space age who had dared to reach for them. This was humanity's moment. For better or worse. "Give the order," she said, her voice steady and resolute. "Operation Starfall is a go. May God have mercy on us all." Across the solar system, the Prometheus's engines flared to life. In a burst of light that momentarily outshone Jupiter itself, humanity's first true starship vanished into the depths of space, carrying with it the hopes, dreams, and fears of an entire species. As the ship disappeared from sensors, Dr. Yuki Tanaka stood in her lab, surrounded by simulations of alien psychology and culture. She couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was standing on the precipice of something monumental. "We're not just reaching for the stars," she murmured to herself. "We're about to dive into an ocean of possibilities, with no idea what lurks in the depths." Little did Earth's leaders know, their carefully laid plans were about to collide head-on with the desperate gambit of the Galactic Council, as two expeditions, one human, one alien, raced across the stars on a collision course. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The stage was set. Humanity was about to make its galactic debut, and nothing would ever be the same again. The Consul's desperate gambit. The sleek diplomatic vessel Harmony glided silently through the void, its stealth systems rendering it nearly invisible to all but the most advanced sensors. On board, High Consul Zixera felt the weight of galaxies on her ethereal shoulders. The fate of countless civilizations rested on the success of this desperate mission. Status report. Zixera's voice resonated through the ship's command center. Grix, the insectoid representative from Betelgeuse, chittered softly as he interfaced with the ship's systems. "We are approaching the Sol system, High Consul. No signs of detection thus far." Kelnan, the elderly Arcturian, gazed out at the star-speckled darkness. "To think, after all these centuries, we return to the cradle of humanity. What will we find, I wonder?" Luxera, the luminous being from Epsilon Indi, pulsed with anxiety. "Let us hope we find allies, not conquerors." The reports from the front grow more dire by the moment. Indeed, in the time since their departure from the galactic core, the situation had deteriorated rapidly. The unknown enemy, which some had taken to calling the Void Swarm, had pressed further into Consul space. World after world had fallen silent, their destruction marked only by the ominous spread of darkness on the galactic map. As the Harmony entered the outskirts of the Sol system, the tension on the bridge was palpable. Zixera's form shimmered with nervous energy. "Commence passive scans. Let us see what humanity has been up to in our absence." What they discovered shook them to their core. This is impossible." Grix chittered, his compound eyes wide with disbelief. "The energy readings from this system, they're off the charts." Kelnan leaned in, his ancient eyes narrowing as he studied the data. "By the cosmic egg, look at Mars. The entire planet has been terraformed. And those structures orbiting Jupiter, they're shipyards far more advanced than anything we possess." Luxera's glow dimmed in shock. How could they have advanced so far so quickly? Zixera's mind raced. The humans they had quarantined centuries ago had been barely capable of reaching their own moon. The civilization they were observing now was unrecognizable, a technological powerhouse that rivaled, perhaps even surpassed, the Galactic Council itself. "It seems," Zixera said slowly, "that our assumption of humanity's isolation was flawed. They have not been idle, nor as blind to the galaxy as we believed." As the Harmony crept closer to Earth, their scans revealed more astounding developments. Massive energy signatures suggested power sources beyond anything in the Consul's understanding. Orbital defenses that could likely repel even the dreaded Void Swarm. And strangest of all, fluctuations in space-time itself around certain facilities. "High Consul," Grix's voice was tinged with awe and fear. "I'm detecting a ship leaving Earth's orbit. Its energy signature. It's like nothing I have ever seen." They watched in stunned silence as the human vessel, dwarfing their own ship in size and radiating power, simply vanished in a burst of light. "Faster than light travel," Kelnan whispered. "They've mastered it, and in a way we never imagined possible." Zixara's form pulsed rapidly, a sign of deep contemplation. Their mission had just become infinitely more complex. They had come seeking potential allies, primitives they could guide and control. Instead, they found a superpower that had been hiding in plain sight. "New plan," Zixara announced, her tone brooking no argument. "We must make contact, openly and honestly. Deception now could prove catastrophic." Luxura's glow intensified with alarm. "But High Consul, the risks are far outweighed by the potential benefits," Zixara cut in, "and by the dangers of not acting. If humanity has been aware of the wider galaxy all this time, who knows what else they know? What plans they may already have in motion?" With trepidation, the Harmony decloaked, broadcasting a message of peace on all frequencies. The response was instantaneous and overwhelming. Alarms blared as the ship was suddenly engulfed in a shimmering energy field. Grix's mandibles clacked in panic. "We're caught in some kind of tractor beam. Our systems are being overridden." Before anyone could react further, the view screen came to life. The face that appeared was unmistakably human, yet there was an aura of authority and advanced intelligence that took the Consul representatives aback. "Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Consul," the human said, her voice calm but laden with unmistakable power. "I am President Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Government. We've been expecting you." Zixara, drawing on millennia of diplomatic experience, managed to regain her composure. "Greetings, President Rodriguez. I am High Consul Zixara. We come in peace, seeking alliance against the Void Swarm," Rodriguez finished for her. "Yes, we know. We've been monitoring the situation. Perhaps it's time we had a proper conversation about the future of our galaxy." As the Harmony was gently but firmly guided towards Earth, its crew couldn't shake the feeling that they had stumbled into something far larger than they had ever anticipated. The hunters had become the hunted, the observers observed. Humanity, it seemed, had been playing a long game, and the Galactic Consul had been oblivious pawns all along. The ship was brought to rest in a massive, gleaming docking bay that put even the Consul's most advanced facilities to shame. As Zixara and her team were escorted off their vessel, they found themselves surrounded by an honor guard of humans in sleek, powered armor that hummed with barely contained energy. General Samantha Chen stepped forward, her posture radiating confidence and strength. "Welcome to Earth, representatives of the Galactic Consul. If you'll follow me, President Rodriguez is waiting to begin our discussions." As they were led through corridors of gleaming metal and pulsing energy conduits, the alien representatives couldn't help but marvel at the level of technology on display. Holographic interfaces flickered in and out of existence. Automated systems whirred efficiently, and through it all, humans moved with purpose and pride. They were brought to a grand conference room, its walls lined with screens displaying real-time data from across the galaxy. At the head of the table sat President Rodriguez, flanked by her top advisors. The tension in the room was palpable as the two sides faced each other, centuries of misunderstanding and hidden agendas hanging between them. "Please be seated," Rodriguez gestured to the chairs. As the alien representatives took their places, she continued, "I believe we have much to discuss, and time is of the essence. The Void Swarm grows stronger with each passing moment." Zixara's form shimmered with a mix of emotions, awe, fear, and a grudging respect. "Indeed, Madam President. But first, I must ask, how long have you known? About us, about the true state of the galaxy." A wry smile played across Rodriguez's lips. "Since the day you quarantined us, High Consul. Did you really think a species as curious and determined as humanity would simply accept isolation? We've been watching, learning, preparing. Every transmission, every stray bit of data, we absorbed it all. Kelman, his ancient eyes wide with realization, spoke up. The quarantine. It wasn't a punishment for humanity. It was protection for the rest of us. Perceptive, General Chen nodded. Your predecessors recognized the potential threat we posed. They hoped that by cutting us off, they could stifle our growth. Instead, they created the perfect environment for us to flourish unchecked. Grix chittered nervously. But why reveal yourselves now? Why not continue your secret observations? Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who had been silently analyzing the alien representatives, stepped forward. Because despite our advancements, we recognize the value of cooperation. The Void Swarm is a threat unlike any we've encountered. It will take the combined efforts of humanity and the Galactic Council to defeat it. Luxura's glow pulsed with curiosity. You speak of cooperation, yet your technology, your preparedness, it suggests you've been anticipating conflict. We prepared for every possibility, Rodriguez said firmly. Peace, war, and everything in between. Humanity has learned the hard way that hope for the best, prepare for the worst is more than just a saying. It's a survival strategy. As the initial shock wore off, the two sides began to delve into the heart of the matter. The Galactic Council shared the full extent of the Void Swarm's devastating advance. In return, humanity revealed the true scope of their technological achievements and military preparedness. Hours passed as strategies were proposed, debated, and refined. The Council representatives found themselves alternately awed and terrified by humanity's unconventional thinking and willingness to take risks that other species would consider unthinkable. As the meeting drew to a close, Zixera felt a glimmer of hope for the first time since the Void Swarm had appeared. I believe, she said, her voice resonating with conviction, that this marks the beginning of a new era for our galaxy. Together, we may yet survive this threat. Rodriguez nodded solemnly. Indeed. But make no mistake, High Consul. Humanity's isolation ends today. We will join this fight, but on our terms. The galaxy must be prepared for the changes that are coming. As the Consul representatives were escorted back to their ship, now upgraded with human technology, as a show of good faith, they couldn't shake the feeling that they had just witnessed the dawn of a new galactic order. Humanity was stepping onto the cosmic stage, and nothing would ever be the same. Little did they know, even as these historic talks were taking place, human forces were already mobilizing. Operation Trojan Horse, set in motion by Admiral Blackwood, was about to change the course of the war against the Void Swarm in ways that would shock both their newfound allies and their enigmatic enemy. The galaxy held its breath, unaware that the real storm was yet to come. Humanity was about to show the cosmos why they had been both feared and quarantined. The age of human ascendancy had begun, and the Void Swarm was about to face an enemy unlike any it had ever encountered. Humanity unleashed. The EFS Prometheus hung in the void at the edge of the Orion Arm, a silent sentinel watching the apocalyptic battle unfold before it. Captain Aria Zhang stood on the bridge, her face illuminated by the flashes of distant explosions, as the Void Swarm tore through the last line of Galactic Council defenses. Aria. Tactical analysis, Aria commanded, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. The ship's AI materialized its holographic avatar. Council forces are operating at 12% efficiency. Void Swarm outnumbers them 5-1. At current rates, complete annihilation of Council forces will occur in approximately 37 minutes. Aria nodded grimly. And the status of Operation Trojan Horse? All sleeper units are in position and awaiting activation, Aria replied. Admiral Blackwood reports ready status across all fronts. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel looked up from his console, his eyes reflecting a mix of excitement and trepidation. Captain, are we really going to do this? The scale of what we're about to attempt. Aria's lips curved into a determined smile. Humanity has been preparing for this moment for centuries, Raj. It's time to show the galaxy what we're truly capable of. She tapped her comm unit. All hands, battle stations. Prepare for phase shift on my mark. Throughout the massive ship, crews sprang into action. In the engine room, antimatter reactors hummed to life, channeling power into the revolutionary Mobius drive. In weapons control, officers initialized systems that could bend reality itself to humanity's will. Arya took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Arya, send the activation signal to all Trojan Horse units. Authorization code. Pandora's box. Across the battlefield, dormant units sparked to life. Sleeper agents embedded in key positions throughout console space revealed themselves, activating hidden technologies that had been lying in wait for this very moment. On the bridge of the console flagship, High Consul Zix Era watched in horror as the Void Swarm closed in. Suddenly, alarms blared as systems throughout the ship began to change, reconfiguring themselves into unfamiliar patterns. "What's happening?" Zix Era demanded, her form flickering with panic. Before anyone could respond, a holographic image of Admiral Blackwood materialized on the bridge. "Greetings, High Consul. Don't be alarmed. Humanity is simply evening the odds." Back on the Prometheus, Arya gave the command that would change the course of the war. "Engage Mobius drive. Take us into the heart of the enemy fleet." Reality itself seemed to bend as the massive human warship phased into existence amidst the Void Swarm. For a moment, there was an eerie silence as the enemy ships registered the sudden appearance of this new threat. Then all hell broke loose. The Prometheus unleashed a barrage of weaponry unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Quantum disruptors tore holes in space-time, swallowing entire enemy ships. Chronocannons aged swaths of the Void Swarm to dust in seconds. And through it all, the human vessel danced through the chaos with impossible agility, its Mobius drive allowing it to appear and disappear at will. Across the battlefield, the effects of Operation Trojan Horse became evident. Console ships, suddenly augmented with human technology, found themselves able to stand against the Void Swarm. Stealth satellites, hidden in plain sight for decades, activated to create a web of quantum entanglement, allowing for instantaneous communication and coordination across vast distances. On a nearby planet that had been on the verge of falling to the Void Swarm, the ground itself came alive. Nanite swarms, dormant for years, surged into action, creating impenetrable defenses and turning the planet's entire ecosystem into a weapon against the invaders. Admiral Blackwood's voice echoed across all channels, human and alien alike. "To all console forces, the cavalry has arrived. Stand firm. Humanity fights alongside you now." The tide of battle began to turn. The Void Swarm, for the first time since its terrifying appearance, found itself on the defensive. Their hive mind, used to overwhelming and absorbing all opposition, reeled in confusion at the unpredictable and devastating human assault. On the Prometheus, Arya watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Arya, status report. Void Swarm forces are in disarray, Captain," the AI reported. "Their hive mind is struggling to adapt to our quantum-shifted attack patterns. Console forces, bolstered by our technology, are rallying. Victory probability has shifted to 68% in our favor." Arya allowed herself a small smile. "Excellent. Signal the fleet. It's time for Phase 2. Across the star system, hidden human outposts revealed themselves. Massive structures, previously cloaked to reveal shipyards and battle stations that dwarfed anything the console had ever built. From these stations poured waves of automated drones and manned fighters, swarming towards the battle in perfect, fluid formations. In the midst of the chaos, the Void Swarm's central command ship, a massive world-sized vessel that pulsed with dark energy, began to retreat. Arya's eyes narrowed as she spotted the movement. "Oh no, you don't," she muttered. "Arya, plot and intercept course. All power to the Mobius drive. We're going to end this here and now." The Prometheus phased out of existence, reappearing directly in the path of the retreating Void command ship. What followed was a duel of titanic proportions, two vessels representing the pinnacle of their respective civilizations' technology, clashing in a battle that would be remembered for eons. Reality itself seemed to warp around the combatants as they unleashed weapons that defied the laws of physics. The Void ship's dark energy weapons clashed against the Prometheus's quantum shields, creating explosions that could be seen from light years away. On the bridge of the Prometheus, alarms blared as the ship took hit after hit. Shields at 30%. Rad shouted over the din, "We can't take much more of this." Aria gritted her teeth, her mind racing. They were so close, but the Void ship's defenses were unlike anything they had encountered. Then an idea struck her, a maneuver so crazy, so uniquely human that it just might work. "Aria," she commanded, "initiate protocol Ouroboros." The AI's avatar flickered, its tone uncertain for the first time. "Captain, the risks of such a maneuver are." Noted and accepted, Aria cut in. "Do it." What happened next would be debated by physicists and strategists for centuries to come. The Prometheus, using its Mobius drive in a way never before attempted, created a temporal loop around itself and the Void command ship. Past, present, and future versions of the Prometheus attacked simultaneously, each version's weapons fire amplified by the temporal convergence. The effect was catastrophic. The fabric of space-time around the Void ship collapsed, creating a singularity that began to tear the massive vessel apart. As the enemy ship disintegrated, the hive mind's psychic scream echoed across the battlefield, causing the remaining Void swarm to fall into disarray. With their command structure shattered, the remaining Void ships became easy prey for the combined human and console forces. The battle was over almost as quickly as it had begun, leaving stunned silence in its wake. As the Prometheus limped back towards the main fleet, the full impact of what had just occurred began to sink in. Humanity had not just turned the tide of a losing battle, they had reshaped the very nature of warfare in the galaxy. High Consul Zixara's voice crackled over the comm, a mix of awe and trepidation in her tone. "Captain Jung, we are without words. You've saved us all. But I fear the galaxy will never be the same after what we've witnessed here today." Aria looked out at the starfield, watching as human ships began the process of cleaning up the battlefield debris. "You're right, High Consul. The galaxy won't be the same. But change was always inevitable. At least now, we face the future together." As news of the victory spread, reactions across the galaxy were mixed. Many celebrated the defeat of the Void swarm, hailing humanity as saviors. Others, particularly among the older console races, felt a deep unease at the level of technology and military prowess humanity had displayed. On Earth, President Rodriguez addressed a global audience, her words broadcast across human space and to their new alien allies. "Today marks a new chapter in human history. We have stepped onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The road ahead will not be easy, but together with our new allies, we will forge a future brighter than any single species could achieve alone." As the immediate crisis passed, the real work began. Humanity began sharing some of its technological advancements with the console races, while diplomatic teams worked tirelessly to integrate Earth into the complex political landscape of galactic civilization. Research teams from across known space descended on the remnants of the Void swarm, eager to unlock the secrets of the mysterious enemy. The threat had been neutralized, but questions remained. Where had they come from? What drove their single-minded aggression? And were there more of them out there, waiting in the dark spaces between galaxies? For Captain Aria Jong and the crew of the Prometheus, there was little time to rest on their laurels. As humanity's flagship, they were tasked with leading expeditions into unknown space, seeking out new civilizations and potential threats before they could endanger the hard-won peace. As the Prometheus prepared for its next mission, Aria stood in her ready room, gazing out at the stars. The galaxy spread out before her, vast and full of possibility. Humanity had faced its trial by fire and emerged victorious. Now, The real adventure was just beginning. The age of human ascendancy had dawned, and the universe would never be the same again. A new galactic order. One standard galactic year had passed since the fateful battle that changed the course of history. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, once a symbol of alien cooperation that excluded humanity, now buzzed with activity as representatives from Earth stood proudly among their interstellar counterparts. High Consul Zixera's form shimmered with a mix of emotions as she called the historic session to order. The chamber fell silent, all eyes and sensory organs focused on the ethereal being at the center of the room. Esteemed colleagues, honored representatives of Earth, Zixera began, her voice resonating through the vast space. We gather today to reflect on the momentous changes our galaxy has undergone and to chart the course for our collective future. The holographic displays sprang to life, showing the reconstruction efforts across formerly devastated worlds. Humans and aliens worked side by side, rebuilding cities with a fusion of technologies that would have been unimaginable just a year ago. President Elena Rodriguez, representing Earth, stood to address the assembly. Her presence, once unthinkable in this chamber, now commanded respect and attention from even the oldest spacefaring races. Friends, allies, fellow sentients, Rodriguez began, her voice firm yet diplomatic. The past year has been one of tremendous change and adaptation for all of us. Humanity's emergence onto the galactic stage was not without its challenges, but together, we have begun to forge a new path forward. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Even those who had initially feared humanity's rapid rise couldn't deny the progress that had been made. Rodriguez continued, "The defeat of the Void Swarm was just the beginning. Since then, we have faced numerous challenges together. The integration of our technologies, the cultural exchanges, the restructuring of galactic defense. Each step has brought its own set of obstacles. But with each challenge overcome, we have grown stronger as a united galactic community." Kelnan, the elderly Arcturian, spoke up next. "Indeed, Madam President, your people's unique perspective has led to advancements we never thought possible. The quantum communication network alone has revolutionized how we coordinate across vast distances." Grix, the insectoid representative from Betelgeuse, chittered in agreement. "And let us not forget the medical breakthroughs. The combination of human genetic research with console biotechnology has cured diseases that have plagued our species for millennia." As the discussion continued, it became clear that humanity's impact had reached far beyond military matters. Earth's long isolation had bred a creativity and adaptability that, when combined with the advanced knowledge of the console races, led to a renaissance across nearly every field of study. But not all was seamless in this new galactic order. Luxara, pulsing with a mix of curiosity and concern, raised a delicate point. While we celebrate these advancements, we must also address the concerns raised by some of our members. The rapid pace of change has been unsettling for many. There are those who fear we are losing our individual cultural identities in this rush towards a human-influenced future. The chamber grew quiet, the excitement of progress tempered by the reality of the cultural shifts taking place across the galaxy. It was a valid concern, one that had been simmering beneath the surface of many interactions between humanity and their new alien allies. President Rodriguez nodded solemnly. "Your concerns are valid, Luxara, and ones we take very seriously. It has never been Earth's intention to supplant or erase the rich tapestry of galactic cultures. Rather, we seek to add our thread to that tapestry, to enrich rather than overwrite." She gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show various cultural exchange programs that had been implemented over the past year. Humans learning alien art forms, alien students studying Earth history, collaborative projects that blended different species' architectural styles and philosophical traditions. "We propose an expansion of these programs," Rodriguez continued, "a galactic cultural preservation initiative funded and supported by all member species. Its goal will be to ensure that as we move forward together, we do not lose sight of where we came from." The proposal was met with approval from many representatives. It was a step towards addressing the fears of cultural erosion that had been growing among some of the older races. As the session continued, other challenges were brought to light. The remnants of the Void Swarm, while no longer an existential threat, still posed a danger in the outer reaches of known space. Admiral Blackwood, representing Earth's military interests, proposed a joint task force to hunt down these remnants and uncover the origins of the mysterious enemy. "We must remain vigilant," Blackwood warned. "The galaxy is vast, and there may be other threats lurking in the darkness between the stars. Earth stands ready to work with all console races to ensure our collective security." The discussion turned to the reorganization of galactic defenses. The integration of human military doctrine with alien technologies had led to the creation of a formidable peacekeeping force. But questions of command structure and deployment protocols still needed to be ironed out. As the debates continued, Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Earth's leading genopsychologist, observed the proceedings with keen interest. The interplay of different species' communication styles, the subtle power dynamics at play. It was a goldmine of data for understanding interspecies relations. Tanaka leaned over to Captain Ariajan, who was attending as a representative of Earth's space exploration initiatives. "It's fascinating, isn't it?" she whispered. "A year ago, most of these species could barely communicate without misunderstandings. Now look at them, debating the future of the galaxy as if they've been doing it for centuries." Aria nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. "It's what humans do best, I suppose. Adapt, improvise, bring people together, even if those people happen to be from different planets." As the session drew to a close, High Consul Zixera called for a final vote on the major proposals that had been discussed. The chamber hummed with energy as representatives cast their votes, shaping the future of galactic civilization. The results were clear. A new era of cooperation had truly begun. The Galactic Cultural Preservation Initiative was approved, as was the Joint Task Force to deal with remaining threats. A new framework for galactic governance was established, one that balanced the interests of long-standing Council members with the dynamic input of humanity. As the representatives filed out of the chamber, the air was filled with a sense of cautious optimism. The path ahead was not without its challenges, but for the first time in recent memory, the galaxy faced the future united. President Rodriguez found herself in a quiet corner, gazing out at the stars visible through the station's massive viewport. High Consul Zixera approached, her ethereal form gliding silently. "A credit for your thoughts, Madam President?" Zixera inquired. Rodriguez smiled wryly. "I was just thinking about how far we've come. A year ago, Earth was isolated, unknown to most of the galaxy. Now we stand at the forefront of a new age." Zixera's form shimmered in what Rodriguez had come to recognize as a sign of agreement. "Indeed, your people have brought a vitality to our civilization that we didn't realize we were missing. But I must ask, do you ever regret revealing yourselves, taking on the burden of galactic leadership?" Rodriguez was quiet for a moment, considering the question. "Regret? No. Concern for the challenges ahead? Certainly. But humanity has always thrived on pushing boundaries, on facing the unknown. This is the greatest adventure we've ever undertaken." As they stood there, looking out at the vast expanse of space, both leaders knew that the true test was yet to come. The defeat of the Void Swarm had been a crucible, forging new alliances and reshaping the galactic order. But it was what came next that would truly determine the course of history. Back on Earth, in the depths of the Himalayan Command Center, General Samantha Chen reviewed the latest reports from across human space. Colonies were thriving, research outposts were making breakthrough discoveries, and Earth's influence continued to grow. But Chen's eyes were drawn to the edges of the map, to the vast unexplored regions that lay beyond known space. What other wonders, or horrors, waited out there? And would humanity be ready to face them? As if in answer to her unspoken question, a priority alert flashed across her screen. A deep space probe, venturing far beyond the edges of charted space, had picked up an anomalous signal. It was faint, barely detectable, but undeniably artificial. Chen's heart raced as she read the preliminary analysis. The signal didn't match any known pattern, human or alien. It was something new, something unknown. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, she opened a secure channel to President Rodriguez. "Madam President," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment, "I think we found something. Something big." As the news spread, from Earth to the farthest reaches of console space, a ripple of anticipation swept through the galaxy. The next chapter in their shared history was about to unfold, and humanity, so recently emerged from isolation, would be at the forefront once again. In the vast chambers of the galactic console, in the bustling cities of Earth, in research outposts and military bases across 100 worlds, preparations began. A new era of exploration and discovery was dawning. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what humanity would do next. For better or worse, the age of human ascendancy had only just begun. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if in anticipation of the adventures to come. As the ESS Prometheus prepared to embark on a new mission, Captain Ariajong stood on the bridge, gazing out at the starfield. The unknown signal beckoned, a siren call from the depths of space. "Helm," she commanded, a spark of excitement in her eyes. "Set a course for the unknown. Let's see what's out there." The great ship's engines flared to life, propelling humanity towards its next great adventure. The galaxy watched, wondered, and waited to see what marvels, or challenges, this unpredictable species would uncover next. The story of humanity among the stars was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun.